Hey, welcome to Let's Get Real. My name is Michael Sharkey. As the host of the show, I welcome in my good friend Spanish. Good to see you.
Hello, Michael. How are you?
How was your week?
It was pretty good, man. Can't complain. You know, I just took a sip of coffee that was way too hot to be in my body, and it burnt my mouth and everything on the way down. So that feels nice right now.
Hey, man, it's just all a part of being alive, you know?
Yeah, dude,
It's all a part of being alive.
Woo, thank you for that.
So our phone number is 1-800-771-1025, 1-800-771-1025. I've already thanked God and the universe for all the amazing calls that we are going to get today, because what I want to do for the very first segment of this, I want to reset what Let's Get Real is all about. We've had some really good conversations over the last couple of months that have spanned everything from helping dudes out to astral projection.
That's right. Yeah. I love my favorites.
And everything in between. But the core of Let's Get Real, at its birth, at its inception, at its motivation, is that support for dudes, giving guys a place to figure out the things they need to figure out. And it is without fail that every time I talk to somebody about what we're doing with this show and the content that we're creating on YouTube and for our podcast and calling in, is it's like, oh, man, men really need this.
Yeah.
Men really need a place to kind of figure it out.
We need a safe space to emote.
Yeah, 100%. And we joke about it, but it's actually not a joke, is that this show is all about feeling and crying and love and death and all of that, because we set the example that we hope to see in others, which is you and I have pretty intimate conversations.
Yeah, we do. Well, I call them mini therapy sessions usually at the Grassroots Kava House.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is that everything about our conversations feels real. Yeah. It feels right. Like there's no like, oh man, I got to go. Like, what is he talking about? This is, well, what do I do here? But they feel good and they feel right. And what we've tried to do here with this show so far, and what we want to continue to do, is let that be a space for you to be able to call in. So I want to do two things right now. Number one, I want to highlight some people that have called over the course of the last couple of months, some of the stuff that we've done. And maybe this gives you license that if you want to call, just some things that we have uncovered and helped dudes with, guys drinking too much. You know, that was in the first couple of weeks, not just drinking too much, but addiction across the board, what to do. And it's funny, but not funny.
Yeah.
But it's relatable. Is the guy is like, I'm sitting in the ABC parking lot and I don't know how I got here.
Yeah.
Like
I know that feeling.
I do too. It's like, all right, well, here I am. What do I do now? I shouldn't go in as I'm walking in.
Yeah.
You know, so we were able to help a couple of guys with that. AJ from a few weeks ago. That was a great story because he called the 1 week to help. And AJ's a perfect example because he didn't know exactly what he didn't know.
Yeah, and he just wanted to talk.
He wanted to talk through to get to the place where he was clear on it. And what ended up happening is he kind of realized he was in an abusive relationship and he had to get out of it.
Yeah.
You know, abusive relationships go both ways. And didn't AJ call you?
He did. He called the first week and just talked. And then the second week he called to update us that he had taken the steps to get out of that relationship and how much he was flourishing. And then he called me for my birthday. So, so I love guys like that.
Yeah. Josh, that pulled at the heartstrings a little bit.
Oh, man, that was tough.
Yeah, Josh called. His wife was just diagnosed with breast cancer and bone cancer. And Josh, if you're listening, man, I really hope that at this moment, a few weeks after you called, that you're doing well. But how he was going to be strong for his wife, and be strong for his 5 kids.
Oh,
and I think that was our guidance and support for him, was like, hey, just be strong for them, but strength. Also, vulnerability is a strength. So don't be afraid to let your kids see you struggle with them.
And that was one of the first times I saw on this show where more people started calling in for Josh than for anything else, which was super cool.
Yeah, and I was going to say that the advice that Josh got, not just from us, but from other callers who have gone through similar things. Got a call from a black grandma.
Oh, it's my favorite.
Black grandma. She talked about how tough it is in the black community for men to talk. And that's a very, very true thing in the black community, is for men in general. And what was interesting is that here was this woman who, and I don't know her age, but we can only extrapolate that she was probably in her mid to late 60s, maybe even early 70s, calling this show. Black grandma. If black grandma can call, you can call. But how she was struggling with addiction. And how her waking up moment was Christmas morning when she wasn't with her grandkids. Melody wanted to run her boyfriend over.
That's right. Yeah. That's one of my favorite calls right there.
So we were able to help Melody, which also shows that this show, Let's Get Real, is a talk show for guys, a place for you to process. But it's also a show that kind of goes beyond that. 1-800-771-1025 if you want to jump in today. Ed, He was the vet who got kicked out by the nice deadheads.
Yeah, Ed and I still talk to this day. We just talked a little bit ago.
And what we came to the conclusion around Ed was that he just needed a hug.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, he needed a place to stay, but he needed a hug.
Yeah, which is no big deal, man. I'm here for hugs. I love hugs.
So 1-800-771-1025. If you need a place to figure out what you need to figure out, we would love to we want to open this phone. We want to open up the calls today to whatever it is that you want to discuss. And I think Isaiah's actually taking a call now, so we may jump to here in a call in a second. But I say all this as a foundation of the show, and I say all this as a foundation of what we do, but there's another way you can share.
Oh, really?
Yes. And it's a sneaky, powerful thing that I want to acknowledge and say that the courage that Josh, AJ, Melody, Ed, the Black Grandma took to call. What we know about radio and what we know about support groups, and that's kind of what this is a support group on the radio. What we know is that very few people actually raise their hand, like a very, very small percentage. In the world of radio, less than 1% of people will actually ever call, but 99% will listen. So what I want to say out loud, and is worth saying out loud, is that what this show is about is the courage of the 1% to call helps give so much support and guidance to the 99% who never do.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, and that's the core of an AA meeting. That's the core of an NA meeting. And that is the core of this show. Is I want to applaud and really say, hey, it takes a lot of courage to call and go, I got some stuff I got to figure out, and I don't know where to start. And we want to be here for you to help you figure that out. 1-800-771-1025. But again, there's another way you can call Let's Get Real that's easier and maybe more impactful.
Okay.
So let me ask you this question. What happens, and I'm dropping this to you live because you don't know what I'm about to ask.
I do not. It's making me a little nervous.
Maybe before I ask this, let's go to Bruce real quick. Before I jump into what I want to show, I'm going to leave that right there. I'm going to leave that question. I'm going to leave that question. I'm just going to hang that in the ether for a second because Bruce is calling 1-800-771-1025. Bruce has a statement about addiction. What's up, Bruce?
The only thing I want to say is everybody has their own trigger as far as whatever your addiction is. Mm-hmm. And nobody else around you will know what that trigger is. Only you personally, internally, will know what that trigger is that causes you to drink, to cause you to, do whatever drug you're on.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is everything has a trigger.
Yep.
If you're an addict.
That is true.
And sometimes, like you were saying, it could be the death of a family member. It could be getting a wrong diagnosis.
Yeah.
Like you just said, that one person quit for his family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that.
And that's the most important part, is to identify that trigger and, find somebody that can help you identify that trigger. Yeah. Whether it's a family member, just keep talking.
Amen to that. Bruce, what I'll say here, and I'm just going to let you jump here because we got to get to something else, but you know what? That's why we're doing what we're doing, is it's a place for guys to figure out what they need to figure out. And you're very right. That trigger does show up, and it's hard to see that trigger, especially with it's hard to see what our own triggers are.
Yeah, especially if you're deep in the bottle or in whatever your addiction you're in. Yeah, you don't want to hear anything that anybody has to say.
And whatever the trigger is, it's super, super powerful when you're like, no, I don't want to deal with that. I just want to, do a vodka lime and soda. All right, so you ready?
Oh, man.
You ready for the question?
Yeah.
So what happens? Mm-hmm. Okay. And Bruce, thank you for the call. I don't mean to take a 180, but I want to come back to what I was saying to Spanish here in a second. What happens when Baker Mayfield, quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, drops back, puts a dime in Mike Evans' hands for a 50-yard touchdown?
Okay.
What ensues in the moment after that? What's happening in the end zone when celebration? 100%.
Yeah, I know that much about sports.
Yeah,
I'm glad you went the sports route.
I didn't want to drop what happens on the right tackle whenever they do a punch block. Yeah.
I would have had no idea.
So they celebrate.
Yeah.
They celebrate. And if you know anything about sports, and it's not just football, but coaches of sports will encourage team members to like get out there and celebrate, run to the end zone. Baker's great about it.
Yeah.
He runs to the end zone and they run and they celebrate. Now, what they don't do in that moment is pontificate about what happened last quarter whenever they miss a third down or they miss a field goal. They celebrate because it's a powerful thing that reminds us of what the good feels like. And it is so important that in day-to-day life, we celebrate our wins.
Yeah, the tiny victories.
The tiny victories.
Okay,
And sometimes they're the big victories.
I like this.
Okay. So what I want to do, 1-800-771-1025, is that we are here for support. But you know what? Sometimes it's good to celebrate wins.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and a lot of times, it's really, really good to like step forward and go, hey, you know what? This week, this thing happened. I got paid this week.
Oh, nice.
I know. All the BS I'm going through at the work. Payday was Monday. Full transparency, I didn't get a full paycheck on Monday. But we had a couple of conversations, good transparency with the owner of the company. I got my full paycheck yesterday.
There you go.
I got paid.
Yeah.
That's a big win for me right now.
It's a big win.
You know, supporting this company, that is a huge win. Figured out a couple things. Well, let's get real behind the scenes. Big win this week. And one of the things that I've noticed, and I notice this a lot because of my day job, because I work with clients who have a lot of mindset issues, is that we human beings have a tendency to over-index on what did not work.
Yeah, very much so.
We over-index on the things that went wrong or the things that we did not figure out. And it becomes so consuming that we forget to celebrate the things that do. And it is incredibly powerful to reset your mind, to give yourself gas in the tank, to go forward, to just go, hey, I got paid this week. I figured out a couple of YouTube hacks this week. So I'm going to put you on the spot. What was a win from you this week? What would you celebrate from this week?
A win for me this week, I had a very distinct moment driving home in the car from Tampa where I could feel myself giving in to some negative thoughts, and immediately in that moment I went, nah, that's not really that important. Those things really don't matter. That's all in the past. And right now I'm just enjoying the drive with the windows down, listening to my music, driving home. And it's one of the first times probably this year that I had like a real solid victory in that moment of just being like, what really matters is that I'm safe driving in my car, enjoying the weather.
Hell
Right?
yeah. Hell yeah.
Right?
Hell yeah. Good job, buddy.
It was a little one, but it felt good. It did feel really good.
Absolutely nothing little about that.
Yeah.
Dude, that's huge. You took a moment, you felt the negative thoughts creeping in, and you're like, not right now.
Not right now.
Windows are down, breeze is blowing.
Yeah.
Life is good.
Yeah, for real.
That's a big win, man.
It felt really good to finally be in control of that moment as much as I could be.
I mentioned it on the show last week, but last Friday night, I was feeling really like punching the gut down. And I had maybe not even to the degree that you did, but I was able to just like, all right.
Right?
I gotta like change the mindset here.
Yeah.
I have a choice. I can be in the crappy mindset or I can be in the good mindset. So, dude, that's a huge win.
I got to be honest, it felt very, very good.
That's a huge win.
Yeah,
that
thank
is
you.
absolutely worth celebrating. That's my point, is that how easy would it be for that not to have happened? And you would prove my point. You'd be like, yeah, man, I had a crappy week. I had this one moment where I was really down on myself. But no, you turned it around. Dude, that is worth celebrating.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, I actually feel a lot better about it now than I did.
See?
Yeah.
Literally, this is happening in real time,
yeah.
okay? Like, you're celebrating wins. You're feeling good. And that's part of what I would like to do with today's show. 1-800-771-1025. We're here for support if you need it. A place for guys to figure out the things that they need to figure out. All good. We're here for that. But you know what else I would love? I would love for you to call and just say, hey, this happened in the last 7 days. This really cool thing happened. And whether it's a mindset shift like you, it's a figuring out a YouTube hack like me, it's getting paid like me, or whatever it is, let's make that part. Let's make that part of maybe not just today's show, but the lifeblood that is Let's Get Real. 1-800-771-1025. It's Let's Get Real on 1025 The Bone.